Hello everyone, it's Tammy Walker here with you again today to show you how I made this lovely card. I just love this card. I made this card for my husband for our 20th anniversary. We just celebrated last week, and I want to show you how I made it here today. The first thing I'm going to start with is I'm going to show you the supplies that you will need to make this card. The main focal thing I think of this card that really makes it unique or really pretty, unique, is the inking here that I've done with the moon and all that kind of thing. So you can add your own of whatever it is you have to make it work to get the silhouetted figures. And you know, the inking is, to me, is the key, is what really makes this card stand out. So let me show you the inside. It's just as pretty. I do finish my insides of my cards. I really like to, and my envelopes. The first thing I'm going to show you is the stamp set for the sentiment. It's the Celebrations from March 2016, What I Love, and I use this greeting here. And you will need the U from the Hello You Thinlets. Both of these items are already retired, but you might be able to find something, or you might already have this. You can use this as well. The ink colors that I use, I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black for my greeting because we are doing blending on the greeting and I don't want it to smear. And Memento Tuxedo Black is the best ink that I have found that you can stamp and almost immediately ink over it or watercolor over it and it will not smear. So there's that. The Stampin' Up! Colors we're going to use is So Saffron, Pool Party. I'll try to see if I can line these up for you. Marina Mist, Rich Razzleberry, Night of Navy, and I'm also using the basic black. It is an archival ink, but it takes a little time to dry. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm going to use it as well for my blending because it does blend nicely. So let me put those away. Another thing that you will need is you will need a sponge wedge. You'll need one of these for each of your color except for the Memento color. You will also need some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm using a Zig liquid glue pen to get into the little teeny tiny fine areas. Liquid glue, Tombow. A white gel pen and a clear glitter gel pen. Some scissors. Tweezers, maybe you might need those. I sometimes need, sometimes don't. You know, your block for your greeting. You will also need a heart for the moon. And I did not have a heart die thinlet, so what I ended up doing is I used a cookie cutter that I had on hand that's just a heart shape, traced it out, cut it out with my scissors. So, and you may want two of these because we are going to be doing quite a few blendings on the different, the front of the card, the inside of the card, and the envelope, and sometimes the ink will transfer, so you might want to get maybe 2 or 3 of these cut. That way you'll have a few of them to use. I only used one, it didn't bother me. So the card sizes that we are going to need for the papers that we're going to use is, of course, an envelope for an A2 card. This is Stampin' Up's Whisper White envelopes. You will need some basic black cardstock. This is or 110-pound black cardstock. This is, let me get the size here. This is a top fold. It is 11. It's 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. Sorry, 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. So we'll need that. You will also need 2 silver layers. These silver full layers are 5 1/4 by 4. You will also need 2 black layers, and these are 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. One for inside, one for outside of the card. And these are going to be the white inking layers, inside and outside of the card, same size. It is 3 3/4 by 5. So, and this is the Whisper White paper. This is a very smooth paper. It takes ink really well, especially the Stampin' Up ink. You'll need a silver layer for your greeting. It is 5/8 by 2 3/8, and the white is 2 1/4 by 1/2. This is Whisper White. You'll also need some punched out items. Now these here are from the Bird Punch, Bird Builder Punch. I know this is retired, but I have it, so I'm going to still continue to use it. So you need 2 birds with their wings punched out, and I believe I have 11 of these little branches. Yeah, 11 branches. I believe that is it. That is everything you will need to make this card, so let's get started. We're going to start out with doing some inking. I'm going to take my heart and just take some of this removable adhesive. That way I'll repositionable, that way I can use it and pick it up and move it around. It won't stick completely. And I'm going to add this, that's my envelope. I'm going to add it down to here after I get my yellow down. What I'm going to do is take my So Saffron, ink up my sponge, and then just kind of put a little bit of yellow in the circle. And I'm kind of going to do it in a way to where it kind of has like a somewhat of a heart shape. I don't know if you could see it kind of coming on. It's all going to blend in together. But you want that for your moon. So I'm starting with that, and then I'm going to add down my heart. About as centered as I can get it. And I'm going to have it come down just a little bit. Not too much. Because this is going to be a moon setting with the water below, and it's really pretty. I've done something similar like this before, and it's really nice. So we're going to put that one aside. Now we're going to start with or continue with our pool party. I'm going to ink it up, kind of hold my heart here down. Actually, let me get I want to draw a line to kind of know about where my sky is going to end and my water begin. So I'm going to kind of line see, this is great, it's great about the grid paper. There's lines. You can line it up to make sure it's nice and straight. And then take your ruler and line it up against the lines on here. And that makes it a little better for getting things straight. So I'm just going to do that and kind of draw my pencil markings like so. And that kind of gives me a water line or a sky to water line. So now I'm going to take and ink up my pool party on my sponge and just start working in it around the sides here of my moon or my heart. And you could do a circle moon, but I thought the heart was kind of sweet, you know, because it was an anniversary card for my husband, and I thought it was pretty. So I'm just going to continue to ink. And what we're also doing is just layering colors. So now I'm going to kind of put that to the side. My next color is going to be Marina Mist. We're going to go in a little light with this because we want it to be more on the edge like that. It gives it more of a, this is where the sky is going to be the darkest because it is a nighttime sky. So it helps to add layers for when I put in my darker colors, to where it'll help make it darker. So I'll go in like that. Okay, and then we're going to do some Night of Navy. Real easy on the edges. See, our sky's already starting to take shape. Also, I am using the Whisper White paper. Now, I am a believer. I like to use different papers. I don't always use just Stampin' Up. I do Michael's Recollection. It's, you know, local. If I need some, I'm out, and I'll just go grab it. You know, it does great. But I will have to say that this Whisper White paper really takes the ink nicely. It's smooth. It has almost a waxy-like texture or whatever, and it really takes the ink smooth. It glides, allows the sponge to glide well. Now my Rich Razzleberry is really juicy, so I'm going to brush some off, and I'm going to do it like on the sides of the moon here, kind of almost a sunset kind of effect. Come up this side like that. And now we'll go back in with our Night of Navy. Just kind of blend it out. Okay. And now I'm going to go in with my Marina Mist and kind of blend that in a little bit better to where it's not so harsh of a light to dark contrast. You have a nice smooth transition there. Okay, and I'm also going to go back in with my basic black and really get the edges, just right on the edges, because it gives the effect of the darkness, but then you also have the light of the moon. And see, these inks blend well. You just got to keep playing with them. Okay, so we have that one. Now my next step is to make sure I'm not going to miss anything. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my heart. Now when I pull it up, I'll have some what I call glue boogers or whatever. I'm going to get those off of there. And see, they roll right off. So we see how we have our nice moon. Isn't that just gorgeous? Our next step is to take our saffron yellow again, and we're going to sponge some down here. This is going to be our water area, but we got to have that glow of the moon in our water. But I'm going to add it first, because then I'm going to add my heart back down on the paper upside down to where we can have somewhat of a an effect of the heart there, like it's in the reflection of the heart in the water. And I want to come up a little higher than what I... Now this is going to be a little bit different because we don't have the we're not going to have the same exact colors as we did the sky because it's water. I'm going to take me a piece of scratch paper, and I'm going to try to find my lines of where I'll say right in here somewhere. Try to keep it straight as I can. So that's what's great. This grid paper, you can line it right up on that line on the grid paper and get things straight. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Just hold it down with my hand. Now I'm going to ink up. I'm going to do the pool party again and scribble in that color. Now you might find that some of the residue ink that is on the heart might come into your paper. I didn't worry too much about it. If it bothers you, you can always cut out more than one heart and use one for one way and the other for the other. That way you don't have too much contamination. Like I said, it doesn't bother me. They're all pretty much the same color scheme. It's just the water's not going to have any of the purple in it or the rich raspberry because it is water. So now I'm going to take my Marina Mist, kind of the same concept. Now doing this, it's going to end up leaving a heart shape in your water. And we want a faint heart shape, or at least I wanted a faint heart shape. But you don't want it too strong, and not as strong as the moon. So to remedy that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my heart now that I'm at this point. So we have our nice little heart moon in the water. Now I'm going to line it back up. Then we're going to add our next colors, which are going to be the Night of Navy around the edge. And we're going to soften that harsh moon shape in the water. You'll still have it, but it won't be like there's two moons. So we're just going to keep adding, because water's darker, especially when you have at night, you know, water looks black. So we're just going through and adding in color. And I'm going to take my pool party. I'm going to come in and go across the moon in the water. Okay, back to my Night of Navy. You're really adding lots and lots of layers of ink on here. That's what gets it darker and darker. So when you're doing this, you might want to give it a little time to dry if it bothers you. It doesn't really bother me too much. Okay, and then I'm going to add basic black on the edges. See how it softened out that moon shape, but you still have the shape? That makes it nice. Okay, and then a Marina Mist. Help bring it all together a little bit. Okay. So you have a nice glow of yellow in the water, and you have the nice slight shape of the moon. Go back in here with some of this yellow. Okay. Now our next thing is the sea, the land. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to take a piece of scratch paper. I'm just going to fold it in half. I was trying to figure out a way how to do this right, and my and I was laying in bed and like, how can I do that without having to try to cut and figure? And so, you know, obviously this piece of paper is too long, but when you fold it in half and you go to tear it on that fold, you'll have a mirror image of what you tore. So, and it doesn't matter. It's all in how you want your land mass to look. And you can take your scissors and do this too, but I just think tearing it gives it more of a natural look, I guess. Okay, and then when you open it up, you kind of have this shape. Let me move some of these out of the way because this paper's fixing to get in the way. Don't want to get it in my ink. So now I'm going to take my card base, or card layer here, and I'm just going to lay this over it. Like that. Try to get it the way. You can kind of see your line. You kind of want to know, you can see how exactly you want your mountains and stuff to look. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and kind of line it up on that water line that I had. And I'm going to take my basic black and I'm going to sponge in. I'm not going to rub, I'm just going to pounce. It's kind of like you're pressing ink into that little crack there. And this is, like I said, a silhouette card, so you kind of want it to be, everything to be silhouetted, just black. You can also do this with stamps. You don't have to, like the birds and the branches. If you have a stamp set that you like, you can use it and then color it in with your basic black marker. You could do that as well. So then we have our nice little islands. Isn't it getting cute? Look at there. And then now I'm going to do a kind of reflection on this side, like the reflection of the mountains or the islands in the water. I'm going to cover up my inking here. I don't want to get anything where I don't need it to be. Let's see there. Let's see if that helped too. Yeah, that's better. So we have our moon rising over our water with our little islands in the back. So we're done with this particular one on inking. We need to work on the, we'll set that aside, let that dry a bit. The inside of the card, I did pretty simple. I just laid the moon piece. Actually, we need to ink it up with our yellow. Take our yellow and just add some here in the center. Okay, then we're going to put down our heart and start inking the same way, starting with your light color. Go in with our getting my fingers in ink. Actually, I'm going to go in with my rich raspberry here. I love this color. It makes such a wonderful purple in like a galaxy if you want to do kind of a galaxy card. So pretty. It's a real nice galaxy purple. I'm going to add some of this black here. Back in with this blue, help smooth that out. So we have this heart. Some of this ink off here, or this glue off here. Okay, another thing I did on my card, I didn't do on this one, I'll probably go back and do it, is I just took my sponge and just kind of, for my rich raspberry and the pool party, and just kind of scrubbed in a little pink there. I thought it looked kind of cute. Kind of gave me the I Love Lucy feel on her heart in the intro of her shows. And I liked it. You don't have to do it. I thought it was pretty though. There we go. Alrighty, so while I got my ink out and inking things, I'm going to set these two aside, let them chill a little. And then I want to ink up my envelope. And one of the things I did was I took a piece of paper and stuck it on the inside, because I don't know if you can see these lines right here. Sorry. These lines right here will tend to show up when you're doing this type of ink blending. So I'm just taking a piece of paper and sticking it inside the envelope to see if that'll help remedy that problem. I'm also going to lay another piece of paper down. I don't want any ink residue on there. And I just laid my heart on here, just like I had on the other ones. And this one I just kind of went, I didn't go crazy with it. Just did the blue, the pool party, scrubbing the color in around it. Had some rich raspberry. I really like this purple in this. I think it's really pretty. Okay, and then some Night of Navy. Just around the edge a little bit. Maybe we'll fill on in there to help hide that fingerprint of mine. See, I'm still getting ink. I've got to get that ink off my thumb. Okay, so I'm going to let it sit to the side and dry for a few. Now, I'm pretty much done with those. I'm going to kind of shove those out the way so we don't get anything on it. I'm going to flip my paper back over now because it's a nice clean piece. It's a lot of ink that I don't want to really transfer everywhere. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and ink up my little greeting I had here, the Know What I Love. So I'm just going to kind of line it up on my grid. It's still not straight. And then I'm going to take and stamp. If my head gets in the way, I'm so sorry. Stamp it on there. So I have the Know What I Love. And I'm going to go ahead and flag that. It's easy to do. Get that flagged. And then I'm going to also go ahead and attach that to my silver piece here. Oh, wait a minute. One of the things I did do, we are not completely done with ink, and that's why I was using the Memento, is I just took my sponge, and just lightly went over the edges of this, just to add some color to it. And then I love this rich raspberry. I don't know, I just thought it looked pretty. And then I took my Night of Navy. I took the edges of my greeting and just kind of laid it in there. And did the flags. Just to ink it up a little bit. So now I can attach those two. And I'm using just some Tombow liquid glue. It gives me wiggle room, that way when I lay this down and it isn't in the right position, I can shift it slightly. So and this piece is a little bit big, so I'm going, because I wanted just barely a trim, so I'm going to line it up and then just kind of wiggle it into place, and then I'll trim off this excess and then flag the end there. Now that I have that done, I'm going to add my dimensionals to the back of this and just have it ready to go and put it aside until we're ready for it. I just do 3. So now my next thing I'm going to do, I got my greeting good stamped, my layered pieces are colored. I need to work on putting the silhouetted tree and the birds on here. So we have our piece, and I have all these little branches that come with the build, or that you can punch out of the Build-A-Bird punch set. So I'm going to use a bunch of these. I need to hold out 2 for the inside of the card and 1 for the envelope, and the rest of these I can use on this card here. Now I'm going to kind of cheat. I'm going to look at this card here. It kind of helps me to gauge exactly where I want to put these, and there's no right or wrong. You do the way you want it. If you want it done differently, if you want less of these little branches, you know, do what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on adding these, and I might edit some of this out, and we'll be back with you when I have all these applied. Okay, so we have our tree branches all coming into view there through the moon. I'm going to flip it over and take my little snips and snip off this excess black branches that are hanging over the edge, just to clean up that edge like that. Okay, and now I'm going to add in my birds. Okay, so these birds go together. They have these wings. We need one bird going one way and one going the other, so make sure you don't make the mistake of gluing these wings on going both, going the same direction. I like the 2 birds together like they're kissing. So I'm going to use Tombow for this, though, to make sure that these birdies get glued down. And I want to make sure their faces are in the moonlight still, their little beaks, I mean. And I'm going to take a couple of these dimensionals, and I'm going to pop up this other bird on these dimensionals. And we're going to see like their faces are together. And see my tail is still on the card there, so see what it looks like so far. It's a very pretty card. Okay, and then so we got all of our pieces there added. Let's add our silhouetted branches to our envelope and to our inside piece. And we're also going to add the U to the inside piece, the U that we cut out of the basic black. And we're going to add it as well. So the envelope, so you put it the way you want it. I put mine below the heart because that's where I added the name. I put it in the heart because it was I obviously didn't mail it to my husband So just put it down at the bottom like that. Trimmed off the excess. And that's ready to go. And then we're going to, here I'm going to add the U first and then add my branches, because I want the U to be in the center of my moon. My tweezers, which I don't see. Here's some. I'm going to add it to the center, roughly. Now any of these that if you're, you can take an acrylic block and lay on top of these to make sure they stay glued down good, or they, get down, do it like that. And it don't take it but a few seconds to, for it to, I guess you say cure or whatever, to stick. I'm going to add my branches. Dangle one in this way. And the other one I'm going to have come this direction. A little bit shorter. Okay, now let's trim off the excess branches there. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and put an acrylic block on it to help it to really set up. Okay, so now we got our silhouetted items added. It's so cute. This is where you get to have, well, we've been having fun, but you get to have more fun with the glitter pen and the gel pen to add stars. And I don't know if you guys noticed, I actually had a shooting star. That was actually a mistake. When I was adding the dots, some reason I did the dot and somehow I ended up with a upward like check almost. So I thought, how can I fix that? So I went in and I just made it look like a shooting star. Same thing for those two. So hey, you make it work. Don't discard it just because it's not exactly the way you want it. You can make it work. Nobody's perfect. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some little squiggly white lines to make sure everybody could see that this is reflection, that it's water, especially where your the shadow or the reflection of the islands is reflecting off the water. It gives it more of a water effect. And just kind of putting in just little wiggly lines here and there. And as I get to the darker area, I will add my glitter pen more, because you don't really see the white anymore. It kind of starts fading out because the light is no longer helping you to see. At least it's in my mind, it's that way. So, but I'm still adding silver up here as well. So we got our water there. Now I'm going to add some dots for my stars. And so if I can get it to write properly. There we go. And it looks so pretty up in that black. Be careful not to add too many because you don't want it to look like snow. You just want it to look like little white stars. See how that kind of checked up a little bit? I think I'll make a shooting star. I just kind of drug my little gel pen through to give it an effect of a shooting star. Okay, so now I'm going to add my little silver gel pen. And just little dots here and there. Try to push down and straight up so you don't end up like me with little check marks. Okay, so that is ready to go. And then I'm going to also add some stars to my inside piece. Let me zoom in a bit just in case you guys. There we go. So you can see. Sorry. So I'm just going to do the same thing. My gel pen's giving me fits. I think it should be plenty inked. I just want a straight dot. Second. You could also, Stampin' Up! Has a Jars of Love stamp set and the thinlits that go with it. There's fireflies. It's big, but you can use it as a silhouette to cut out some fireflies to have, you know, around your moon. That would be really pretty as well. It'd be different. And it's something that most people might already have because it's a fairly new stamp set. Or it is new. It was from last year's catalog, and they carried it over. So I'm going to add me a little shooting star here. Just kind of bouncing my pen along. Same thing with the gel pen. So there we go. We have those two. Shooting stars are so pretty. Okay. So now our next thing is to add our layers. So I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid glue to my pieces, and I get my finger all in it. And then I'm going to, let me zoom out just a smidge. Okay. Then I'm going to add it to my black, can you pick it up? My black paper here. Okay. And I can pick it up and wiggle it the way I want it, like if it's off a little bit. Some people don't like this glue, and that's fine. I like it though. It doesn't bother me. Okay, so that one's ready. We're going to do the same for the back of our front piece. Frame for you. Now, a lot of people would not want to use this much paper for layering. People wanted to conserve, and I understand that. So what you could do is get the right size you need and go in and trim out a square out of here and use that for another piece of, for another time, another card. So I'm going to add this. I think this silver really complements the colors in this picture. I think it really makes it pop. It's very nice. You have to be careful because this foil paper is shiny, has a smooth surface, so it will shift real easy. Set it to the side, and we'll do this center one. Now we need to attach everything to our card base. So I'm going to start with the inside piece. And there again, using my liquid glue. And this card is kind of a thick card. So if this is something that you're going to be possibly mailing, you need to take that into consideration, that this card's going to be thick with all these layers of paper. You might not want to do this card for somebody you're mailing, or be prepared to pay, you know, extra for postage, because it would be extra for the postage of this card. At least I would think it would be. You have to go check with your post office, because we do have quite a bit of dimension here. But it's so pretty. It's such a pretty card. This could also be used as, change the greeting on it. It can be used as a wedding or engagement card. You know, my original thoughts was to do this with a white and black bird, but then it hit me to do a scene in this with the sky and all, and it's just stunning. It's just gorgeous. The colors just turned out so pretty. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to stick with the night scene like this. Now I'm going to add my greeting here. We have our card, and the inside is finished. I know I had a couple of people comment on my last video how they liked that I finished my insides, or show you how I do my insides. I usually keep them more simple than this, but I was having fun with it. I thought it was really pretty. So inside is finished, and I also have a finished but somewhat smudged envelope. I do apologize for that, but you know, the old thumb gets in the way of the ink pad, and you know, sometimes it just gets in there and you just make do with what you got. That's my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're new to my videos, I've not been putting them out for very long. I only have a few, but I do plan on doing more videos in the future. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and you know, putting out videos helps get people interested in Stampin' Up! And, you know, possibly purchasing stuff through me if you wish. I do appreciate it, and I do plan on putting more videos out, trying to do different things. You know, I do paper pumpkins, so I like to do paper pumpkin alternate cards and show you what paper pumpkins is in case you're not familiar with it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye!